What's going on, Packers Nation? Welcome back to another video of Packers Latest. I am your host, Taylor Bretl, keeping you up to date on the latest news on the green and gold Green Bay Packers. A happy Saturday to all of you watching out there, and a huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. If you're new to the channel, I welcome you. Feel free to subscribe, leave a like, turn on a notification bell so you know when these videos go live, and if you're a returner, I welcome you back as always. Today's episode is a kicker-filled episode after the unfortunate 31-27 loss to the Chicago Bears in the playoffs. The kicking situation and Brandon McManus, it's definitely a mess, and I know a lot of people would like to see a new guy trying to put it through the uprights for Green Bay next season. So before we get into the names, got to start off with McManus' stats for the Packers this season. He was just 24 of 30 on the season on field goals, from 40 to 49, just 3 of 7. From 50 plus, just 3 for 5. And you can actually make those 3 of 8 and 3 of 6, because in the playoffs he was 0 for 2 on field goals, one of them from that 40 to 49 range, and one of them from 50 plus. I believe it was about 55 yards, that one he attempted that he did not make before halftime. So the first name I got on this list for the Packers to possibly look at, Daniel Carlson from the Las Vegas Raiders. Carlson has definitely been a big name around the NFL in the kicking department, but this season had a rather underwhelming season compared to what he's done over the rest of his career. You look at his stats this season, just 81.5% on field goals. That's just 22 of 27. You go to extra points, those are pretty dang good, 21 of 22. He does have one heck of a leg that is the plus with Carlson. Despite the shaky 22 of 27, he did nail a field goal from 60 yards, I should say, this season. You look at it kind of yardage wise, from 20 to 39, a perfect 11 for 11. From 40 to 49, just 6 of 8. And from 50 plus, just 5 of 8. But again, a 60-yarder. It shows the range that he has. But he does kick, in a dome. That is something to note. Not all of his games, but all the home games where the Raiders play, it is covered. It's not outside in what could be cold, windy Green Bay weather. So that's definitely something to note for him. So I got kind of some strengths that I want to list for him. The first one I list is a proven high-end kicker with, multiple elite seasons. Again, this was an underwhelming season for him. Maybe that's a concern, saying, he's on the downward trend. But again, he's had very strong seasons and some pretty clutch kicks. You think about that iconic game where Derek Carr called the timeout for the Raiders to beat the Chargers to go into the playoffs. Carlson was the one to sink it through the uprights. You look at some other strengths, his strong leg, he's definitely very comfortable going out there from 50 plus, nailing that 60-yarder, and he's experienced in those pressure situations. For the weaknesses, I put the down year in 2025 compared to his peak, and his accuracy kind of dipping a little bit on those mid-range attempts, just 6 of 8 from 40 to 49. Definitely something to highlight, but again, that was in a down year as a whole. But that's going to take me into the next possible option in Eddie Pinero. Could he be a better fit for Green Bay? Well, let's take a look at that. You look at Pinero this season with the 49ers, his first season with the 49ers, spent the past couple of seasons with the Panthers. He is 96.6% on field goals in the regular season, which is 28 of 29. But extra points, a different story, just 89.5%. That is 34 of 38 he was. You look at the range, though, that is also there as well. He made a 59-yarder this regular season, and you break it down from 20 to 39 yards, a perfect 12 of 12. From 40 to 49, a perfect 10 of 10. And from 50 plus, just missed one. He was 6 of 7, again, with the longest being 59 yards. I think that this is definitely an intriguing name. Pinero, 30 years old, a little bit on the older side, but still rather young for how late these kickers kind of go into their career. And with the type of season he's having with a playoff team like San Francisco, it is some pretty impressive stuff. For the strengths that I put from him, definitely that elite accuracy this season with a near perfect season. Again, 28 of 29 on field goals. That strong leg, making 6 out of 7 50 plus attempts. And in my opinion, he could be a little bit more affordable compared to, some of the higher names. Someone like Daniel Carlson, who's been around a little bit longer, he could be more expensive than a Pinero. You go to the weaknesses, the extra point accuracy, sitting there at 89.5%. That's definitely something to highlight. And he's had inconsistent seasons earlier in his career. He came over from Carolina from the 2024 and 2023 season. This is how his numbers read with Carolina. Just 84.6% from field goals last season in that 2024 season with Carolina. And in 2023 with them, just 86.2% on field goals there. So he's definitely having a career year this year. This isn't a year in, year out thing for Pinero, but you can't discredit what he's doing. I mean, that is pretty incredible and bigger shoes to fill, in my opinion, compared to the Carolina teams he was on, compared to the San Francisco 49ers team. Definitely a lot more pressure, a higher level team. So I think Pinero, definitely an interesting option. There's lots of names that I'm going to talk about out there, especially in the last point. There's a couple that I don't even have on the sidebar that I'm going to get into. But before we get into that, have to give a huge shout out, as always, to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the gridiron action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get them right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. This week on Underdog, I've been talking about it all week, that Bears and Rams game. I got Caleb Williams higher than 226.5 passing yards. Again, kind of like I talked about before as well. With the weather getting iffy, I feel like my confidence in this is a little iffy having higher on it, but still, the weather was pretty cold. There were some winds against the Packers, and he still threw for over 300 yards. Definitely more extreme weather conditions for this game, but Caleb Williams has shown time and time again that he can do what he does best, especially in late game situations. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code FootballFan to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FootballFan. Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-878 or text HOMI 467-369.
I welcome you back to Packers Latest. We are now going to talk about Riley Patterson, who in my opinion is one of the most, if not the most intriguing names out of all the ones that I'm going to list today. The current kicker for the Miami Dolphins. I have this titled as, would Patterson be an ideal younger option? I think the word younger is the big part about this. Just 26 years old. Some of these other kickers we're looking at, a little bit older. The ones I'm going to get into later, like the Matt Praters, he's over 40 years old. Riley Patterson, just 26 years old. This could be an interesting option, especially if it was a multi-year deal. You look at Patterson this season, he was 27 of 29, which is 93.1%, which is the fourth best in the NFL among kickers with a minimum of 20 attempts. So that's pretty good in its own. Extra points, he didn't struggle there, 34 of 35. His longest field goal he made this season was 54 yards. And breaking it down by the yardage, from 20 to 39 yards, he was 13 of 14. From 40 to 49 yards, he was 11 for 11. And from 50 plus, he was 3 for 4. So some of the strengths that I have for him and some of the stuff that I've read to you that you can tell is his strength. One of the most accurate kickers in the NFL in 2025. Again, the fourth highest field goal percentage among kickers with a minimum of 20 kicks attempted. He is young with room to grow. That's another strength that I have with him. Again, just 26 years old, and he's very reliable from short to mid range. But that kind of takes you in to the weakness. He's not a big leg kicker. Again, just 4 total attempts from 50 plus. He did go 3 for 4 on them, but again, not too many attempts from there. And you look at, he's less proven in extreme weather. This is something that I circled very big on my notes here about him. Patterson has been around team to team to team to team. He's been on so many teams in his young NFL career. He's played for 6 teams in 7 years. And here's the amount of games he's played per team. You look at Detroit, where he's played the most games, 20 of them. And again, he's not playing all home games with these teams. But Detroit, that's a team that plays inside a dome. You go to Jacksonville, 17 games with them. That's a warm weather environment. You go to Miami, another warm weather environment where he was this season, 17 games with them. Then you get colder. Cleveland, just 3 games with them. The Jets, just 1 game with them. And Atlanta, who plays in a dome, just 3 games with them. So he hasn't really been tested too much in the cold weather, whipping winds. He's played in warmer, kind of scenarios, I guess you can call it, warmer stadiums, and stadiums with domes as well. So that's nothing to knock him on. That's just something to note if you're a kicker coming to Green Bay, with half of your games being at home and then playing, the NFC North rival in the Chicago Bears at their place. You got the Vikings and Lions, are in a dome. So that's just one division game you have to worry about on the road. That will be outside as well. But again, those are still multiple things to note. It's going to take me into my last point, though. And, who else could Green Bay be looking at? I highlighted 3 big names here. But there are still a couple other free agent kickers for 2026. Going to start this off with Joey Sly of the Tennessee Titans. He has kind of struggled in 2025, but he's a kicker that's been around from team to team. Been in the NFL for a decent amount of time now. Just 80% on field goals, 28 of 35. And extra points, he was 26 of 27. You look at him, though, he does have a pretty sizable leg. His long on the season was 58 yards, and from 50 plus, he was 9 of 14. So they're showing that he attempts it a lot from far. 14 attempts from 50 plus. Again, just making 9 of those, but it kind of shows the Titans. Obviously, this is a team that was struggling to score points, so you want to bring him out more when you have chances to score points, but it, kind of shows on the other end that they trust him with the further distances. You look at kind of the shorter range ones from 20 to 39, he was 12 of 12, and from 40 to 49, he was 7 for 9. So the strengths, definitely, you notice one of the strongest legs in the league from 50 plus, 9 of 14 on those 14 attempts. Again, I'm going to say it again like a broken record. That is a ton. You look at it compared to other guys, just talk about Patterson, he only had 4. And we gotta go into the weaknesses though of that and kind of these numbers. His accuracy is streaky. You look at the game log, he did have a couple games where he went over, and he's not too reliable from that 40 to 49 range. 7 of 9, that's pretty good. I'm not trying to get nitpick in these stats, but again, just 80% on field goals on the season, and 7 of 9 from 40 to 49. Not the worst percentage, but could be a little better. But all due respect, in comparison to McManus, that would be a huge upgrade. That's going to take me into the last kicker I have listed here in Matt Prater of the Buffalo Bills. His 2025 stats read just 20 field goal attempts in the regular season, but he did drill 18 of those. From 20 to 39 yards, he was 11 for 12. From 40 to 49, 6 for 6. And from 50 plus, 1 for 2. On extra points, 49 attempts of those, he was 46 of 49, and his longest field goal in the regular season was 52 yards. You look at him, though, postseason experience, that's a big thing with Prater. I don't have his exact age here. I believe he's 41, 42, right around there, so he's been in the NFL a while. He's been on a lot of playoff-level teams, and he's gotten that experience. On the career in the postseason, which he still currently is playing in with the Buffalo Bills, 16 of 18 and 5 for 6 from 50 plus. So again, the thing with McManus, the bigger issue, I should say, was the postseason kicking. What we saw last season against the Eagles and this season against the Bears. Still the struggles in the regular season in its own, but the postseason kicking numbers are something huge to look at. So the strength still extremely accurate, being right around 41, 42 years old. And the veteran presence that you can have in the playoffs, and maybe a clutch factor with that would be pretty big for Green Bay to have. But again, with the age, it is definitely an interesting target. That would only be a 1-year deal at most, I would have to believe. Look at the weaknesses. That's kind of my big thing, just the age overall. And there's no long-term upside. That would be a one and done kind of contract with Prater. But hey, I'll take anything that the Packers can get. I'm curious what you guys think. You can feel free, to leave a ranking in the comments or just leave your favorite name out of these kickers that I listed in the comments. Me personally, I think Eddie Pinero is my number one out of this because I think Daniel Carlson has that bigger leg, but I think he'll be the most expensive out of the names I read. Matt Prater's a little older. Joey Sly has the bigger leg, but he's less accurate. Riley Patterson's an intriguing one, but he's been around so many teams, playing in a lot of domes, playing in a lot of warmer weather. I feel like Pinero has that kind of a balance among all these kickers. And, the extra point issue is definitely a concern there. But 28 of 29 on the season for Pinero, that is something that is hard to ignore. But again, feel free to leave who you think would be your favorite kicker addition for the Green Bay Packers to, replace Brandon McManus. Don't want to kind of knock him down and say he's not going to be the kicker for the Packers next season, but it just kind of seems to be trending that way. I'd be really shocked if the Packers stick with him entering the 2026-2027 season. But hey, you never know. You still got to look at the possible replacements nonetheless. But I appreciate you guys tuning in for yet another episode of Packers Latest, and go Pack Go.